Boys to fun.
A bread to a hungry soul.
A roadmap to a lost traveler.
Boys to fun.
A living water for those who thirst.
A clanging cymbal to those who slumber.
A guide reflection for the Sunday Gospel.
Boys to fun.
My dear friends, on this 23rd Sunday of the year in Ordinary Time ESC, the Church invites us to understand or to pay attention to the commitment that is required to be a follower of Christ, a disciple, which entails reordering or reevaluating our values and our relationships. But to do that, we need the grace of God to aid or to help our human efforts. There is this beautiful story about a frog that was trapped on a giant lily pad surrounded by hungry crocodiles. His only hope for escape was to hop overhead, and he said with cool detachment, "Why don't you take off and fly?" said the crocodile. "Just fly to the next pad." The frog got a running start, flapped his legs as fast as he could, lifted off and came down right in front of the massive jaws of a giant reptile. "Stupid all," the frog screamed. "Frogs can't fly." "Please," they all descendingly said, "that's an implementation issue. I deal only in concepts." So you see, my dear friends, like this frog, a person may begin well but end badly without being forewarned about the implications of executing a plan. And through the stories of the building project and the army strategy that we read in the Gospel of Luke chapter 14, verses 28 to 32, Jesus intends to drive home the point that becoming a follower of Jesus is not just a matter of whim. It requires careful thought, careful understanding of the demands. So it becomes clear that the follower of Christ must understand and advise himself or herself what level of commitment is required. So you see that following Christ entails re-evaluation of our values, re-evaluation of our human relationships. In the second reading, we read of Onesimus, who was once a slave to Philemon. And St. Paul took the enslaved person with him and baptized him. When he sent Onesimus back to Philemon, St. Paul wrote to him, "I am sending back to you Onesimus forever, not as a slave anymore, but something better than a slave, a dear brother." We read this in Philemon chapter 1, verse 16. So Philemon was actually instructed to let the master-slave relationship between them to cease, to stop, and replace it by a kind of relationship that is worthy of brothers in Christ. Therefore, the gospel has the power to break such social and cultural barriers. And moved by the gospel, to love one another as I have loved you. We all know this beautiful woman, a middle-aged woman who walked into the slums of a large city in India. She had a few money, no income, no place to stay. All she had was the conviction that God wanted her to love the poorest of the poor with works of mercy, no matter their nationality or color. That beautiful lady was Mother Teresa, who now has more than 80 schools, 70 leprosy clinics, more than 30 homes for the dying, homes for the abandoned children, more than 300 mobile dispensaries, and more than 4,000 volunteer workers worldwide. Such a following, which requires re-evaluation of one's values and one's relationship, cannot be practiced if we rely on our human strength. Today at this Mass, today on this beautiful Sunday, may we ask God for wisdom to help us, not only to make this decision to follow Him, but to give us strength and grace to keep our commitment to the gospel, our commitment to God, our commitment to the church. Have a beautiful Sunday, my dear friends.